My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today I wanted to talk about the grace of goodbye. There is a tremendous grace. There is tremendous grace that is offered in goodbyes, and it's often not recognized. And that's because we can sometimes find change to be uncomfortable. I have a Cancer Mars and Cancer cusping moon. It's a very Cancerian trait to not really enjoy change. It's also a Capricorn trait. So you may have certain natures in your matrix, certain ways of being, characteristics in which you don't enjoy change. And when goodbye happens, a change occurs. One of the larger ways two-leggeds are going to experience goodbye is through death. So let's just take a minute to consider not having the goodbye of death. Let's consider if you live to be 5 million years old. Imagine everyone that you've known that's died, and they're just still alive, and you're just going to be alive, and we're all going to be like 5 million years old. No thanks. No thanks. I mean, I've said before, I'm not a YOLO or you only live once. I'm more in alignment with reincarnation based on all of the intense studies I've done on that topic, the number of two-leggeds that have experienced, the number of verifiable evidence from the mouths of babes, from that children say about time periods that they've not been exposed to, but yet they can point to things in that vein. And in that sense, you know, I would much prefer to drop this flesh costume, this character called Heather Feather, that is this particular way of being, and practice, you know, in my next life being an Uzbekistani man, or being, you know what I mean? Like, I practice in my next life having autism. I love the idea of being given an infinite number of diverse opportunity to express the matrix that is I am Heather, you know, to become new name, new situation, new labels. It makes sense to me in a free will zone that we would have unlimited opportunity to express, and that it wouldn't be condensed into just one expression and then you're dust. I mean, possible. I don't think I'm right. Anything's possible. However, if you really consider everything's in a state of decay, specifically with our with our current matrix of belief in the decay of things, 5 million would be like if we had the technology to keep ourselves alive, even for 1,000 years, you know, you might get a little tired of that matrix. So just something to ponder there about death. It's like maybe there is a grace in that goodbye. What I can tell you, the life that I have had the most reverence and value for in this realm is my mother's. I think she is one of the greatest teachers I'll ever know on how to be a two-legged and how to be loving and attentive and just how to be spiritual concepts in action. And there's a grace in her having exited this plane. She doesn't have to grow old. She doesn't have to experience aspects of that. She got to leave at a young enough age where she doesn't have to go through this thing called aging and decaying. She awakened her children to deeper levels of being, deeper reverence for life, you know? So there are many things that have come out of that. There's a certain level of quality that can be consistent in a two-legged of choosing based on impressing the parents being the first authority that we came to know, potentially. Some people are raised by grandparents or others. But so then we spend our life having kind of an unconscious awareness of wanting to ensure that what we do impresses them, or, you know, I don't have any of that. My parents are dead. They're both dead. Like, do whatever the hell you want. It opened up a level of freedom in my life. My mom, like myself, is easily impressed. So I don't think, you know, even having that matrix was a big deal for me, because I was blessed with liquid gold when it comes to the concept called mom. But there are other types of goodbyes that we experience. The goodbye of a breakup, the goodbye of rejection, the goodbye of a loss of job, the goodbye of a friendship. I've had some experience the past couple of years with the goodbye of a friendship. It definitely had pain with it. You know, you might have emotional pain, but it's also viable that we're a little too addicted to the idea that feeling good is all we want to do. Like I say this and I want to keep saying it. I want you to really consider having an entire lifetime. Let's say you're going to live to be 100, and all 100 years you're just all you ever are is happy, laughing, joyous, yay, bless, 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 bliss, bliss, bliss. Like, what would be the point of coming to Earth School, a dichotomy, a duality, a polarized realm? Wouldn't be a lot of point in being here. And you might get tired of it. I say often, we actually do want our tears of sadness. We do want our anger. We do want our variance in expression, because that is true freedom. And it causes a certain level of reverence and appreciation for the moments when we are experiencing being blessed, being grateful. Every breakup I've ever had, and I say this, and I'm somebody who has been single for a long time and has experienced a lot of rejection and a lot of aloneness, which developed me deeply spiritually. It developed me in a lot of different ways. It's really easy to focus on, develop, and grow yourself when there's not someone else in your life. But I've recently had someone come into my life. Maybe you noticed that my videos went from being portrait to landscape. Thank you, Saya. Because I've had somebody come into my life that definitely garners my attention, garners my undivided attention. And what I can say is it's all the goodbyes that happened before I met him. It's all of the rejection. It's all of the letting go of my hand that others have done that have led me to be at this level of quality of fun. And I've even had this come up in an Akashic record. If you are familiar with Edgar Cayce or the Akashic records, he used to read them, but you can go to akashicresources.com and get an Akashic reading based on your Dharma or life purpose, if that's a question you have, or a relationship, compatibility. Lots of good intel. I've had a lot of those readings. And they really speak to this piece that we understand that it's felt like an emptiness in your heart to have no concept of relationship. I mean, also, I'm an INFJ, so I can be pretty introverted, and it has felt kind of empty I'm really grateful to the Akashic Records and my Dharma profile for causing me to step into spiritual classes and spiritual teachings, because I always feel like a student as a teacher. I always see all two-leggeds as my teachers. And that matrix did give me greater connectivity and greater, it helped to fill some of that emptiness that I was feeling. But they did state that, Heather, you've also profoundly developed your spiritual development in this time. You've developed in a lot of ways. You've grown in a lot of ways. You have tremendous inner authority and power that was not there before, due to your ability to be alone with the self. And that's become well developed. And to note that this amount of time you've spent alone is going to compound the beautiful creation that is to come around the bend for you of what it is that you seek, because you've taken the time. So sometimes it can really serve us to embrace the grace of goodbye. I'm a deeply emotional person. I have a tremendous amount of Scorpio and Cancer. I'm cusping 0 degrees on many things. And if we count those cusps, which I do, because there's 30 degrees in each sign, and if we're 0 degrees, I really am both. So there's a lot going on in this kooky broad. I'm mostly water. So there's like 6 water, 5 fire. I always say I'm fire water. I'm like, liquor, you're welcome. And like all that water causes a very emotional matrix. I'm very emotional, and goodbyes are hard, and have historically been hard. The more I embrace them, the more I look for the grace in them, the more I understand their necessity, because as we surrender that which flows out of our life, it's possible to begin trusting that outflow naturally causes an inflow. What I always say is that the universe loves to fill a void. It loves to fill a void. It cannot fill a void that is not present, though. If you are clinging to an old relationship that is toxic to you, I wanted to invite you and invoke the idea in you and plant a seed in you that I pray will become a fruit-bearing tree, that you consider the option of choosing again. I've been in many toxic relationships. They're a great way to learn, for sure. Not the most fun, but they're a great way to learn. And you do have options. And it's okay to be alone. And actually, it's one of the greatest ways for you to know yourself, your beautiful self. Your beautiful, always lovable, always have been, always will be lovable self. So one of the things to consider is there anything in your life, in the river of your life, that you are refusing to allow the grace of goodbye to occur? I psychically tell my cats a lot, like, I feel like you need to live forever because I love you so much. One time, Ashtar, I couldn't find him for over 24 hours, and I'm grateful for that experience because I realized how attached I am to my four-leggeds not dying. And so I try to psychically let them know when it's your time, I will let you go. I was recently connected to a Japanese philosophy through anime around like the concept that an animal you don't release and you cause it to stay, it grows many tails, it can become demonic. There are these concepts around it. But so, I mean, just lots of beautiful different philosophies around this idea of death with animals. But I let them know psychically, you're welcome to go. If I was dealing with a nonverbal two-legged too, I would be psychically telling them, you're welcome to go. Now, that was not something I could offer my mom because it was like, you're not allowed to die ever. You're Yoda, basically. My mom was like Yoda, and very much my spiritual mentor, teacher. She just was grace of the heavens poured into me. And so now at this stage in my awareness, I want to offer things the grace of goodbye, to let them release, to let them die, to let them fall away on a given day, to understand that we may have a moon time, but that the sun will always rise, that it is okay to be in the ebb because there is bound to be a flow, and to release the idea that I have to know when that is going to occur. I've had a lot of attachment to the idea of partnership and the beloved, and the idea that home for me is a beating heart that will be next to mine. And that attachment has caused me a lot of pain. And so as I've come to more and more just accept the falling away that's occurred in my life, all that I've had to let go of, all that has died, all that has ultimately not been the home that I was seeking, the beating heart that I thought would remain next to me, I've learned many things. I'm grateful to every two-legged I've ever romantically loved. They've taught me much. They've evolved my character. I pray for the graces. I pray for their wellness. And I'm also grateful that ultimately they, in their outflow of my life, hopefully are moving towards an inflow of the greatest grace. I certainly pray for that. But I can say that outflow definitely led to my greatest grace. I'm now enjoying a fellow 2911-2, a fellow INFJ, a fellow brilliant mind, somebody that activates and exercises their mind not a lot, somebody who's also emotionally intelligent, has a lot of emotional intelligence. And it's delicious. It's delicious. And I'm, as I reflect, I'm wishing I had spent a little bit more time in allowing things to fall away, trusting that is a grace and a gift in my day. So if something is falling out of your life, if something's falling away from you, if someone's crossing over, if they're exiting their flesh costume, it's a great time to consider everything you gained from that relationship, because loss is never a loss. If you've had connection, you've gained some things. And the reflection upon that can let you know the pleasure and the joy. Even if the lessons were difficult, even if they were a toxic person, you can grow. You can integrate that shadow. You can come to know more through the teacher, whatever form they took. So this day, I'm reflecting on the graces of my goodbyes. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to consider what a prize that is in your own life. What is the grace of goodbye in your life? What did you gain from every goodbye you've ever known? You can always subscribe on YouTube, like and comment there. In the coming year, I'm going to create a year-long apprenticeship on the shamanic path for those a specific small group of entities. I'll also have online classes to where you can do home study on a wide variety of metaphysical or spiritual topics. I hope this day you're able to find the grace in saying goodbye. Blessed be.